Hello, my name's Dan Bass. I'm with Lampride. Today I'm going to go over an all-purpose seeder, an APS. It's one of our best-selling products, and it's one of a great tool for food plots and landscapers. There's no gearboxes. It's all ground driven, and it can do a variety of things. An overseeder will overseed into turf. Primary seeder will go into broke ground. This is kind of a jack of all trades. It does a little of both. I'm going to go over how to calibrate the seeder. I'm going to go over some adjusting on the seeder, and I'm going to talk about a little bit about the size of seeds and which box they go in. Seed size is important as to determining which appropriate box you're going to put it in. This is a standard seed box, comes with every one of these seeders. This is an optional small seeds box. You're pretty much, if you're going to do food plots or any wildlife type plots, you're going to need the small seeds box. And I'll show you here in a minute. We're going to go over a few of these seed sizes. This is wheat. This is a grass mixture of a food plot mix, and it's got some smaller seeds in it, but the majority of it is the bigger seed. And we have K31 fescue, which is a very common seed. These three seeds here will go through this standard seed box. They will feed just fine with no additives and do a great job. This seed right here is brome. Brome, as you can see, is a little bit bigger than the K31. It's got a little bit of a beard on it. It wants to bridge when it gets into a big area. When you put 50 pounds into this box, it's going to want to bridge on you. There is an agitator option that you can get with this, but it still doesn't really feed the brome through quite right. I don't necessarily recommend running brome through a standard seed box. It's best way to plant brome is through a native grass box. But if you want to try it, and there's some guys that are having some success, you add talc powder with it and or a very light granular sand to kind of help feed it through. Now moving on to the small seeds box. I've got a couple of blends here that have a lot of alfalfa and clovers and stuff mixed in it. They're treated, that's why they're blue. This one over here, you'll notice if you look at the dime, the seed size is so small, it has to have a smaller feeder cup. And that's what we have on a small seed box. The feeder cup on the small seed box is about a quarter of the size as on the standard. Helps you get a more accurate metering of this seed. And that's what we're after. That's the heart and soul of this unit, is the metering capabilities. The more accurately we can meter that seed out, the better. I'm going to walk through a few points on how to set this up, and then we're going to calibrate this. It's very simple, takes about 10 minutes, and we'll be good to go. Before we go to calibrating, there's a few things we need to check and make sure of our settings. We're going to start with the drive system. The drive system on these are ground driven. They're driven from the rear roller up through and run the feeder cup. I'm going to remove this cover. Now there's a high gear and a low gear on this. This unit is set up in high gear. And how I know that is, the small gear on this double sprocket is set to the outside. If I was to take this nut off, remove this sprocket, flip it around, push it back in, change the lengths of my chain, and the chains are double, they have a double master in there to allow you to change the length. Put the big sprocket on the outside, small sprocket to the inside, that would be in low gear. That's typically where most people are going to run it, but this is how this unit was set up today, so we can still show you how to calibrate off of it. Also, one thing to note back here, is there a pin right here that disengages the rear roller. So anytime that you need to run this machine without putting seed down, pull this pin that disengages the drive system so we don't have any wear on the chains or on the feeder cups as you're running through the field. Okay, we're in high gear. Next step is to check the setting on your feeder cups. We'll go around back, we'll check our setting, and I've already put some K31 fescue in here to show you how to calibrate the seeder. We're now back at the feeder cup adjustment handle. You'll see the numbers up here. They represent the percentage of feeder cup that is open and allowing seed to fall. So if you see a 50 back here, that means the feeder cup is 50% open, 100%, so on and so forth. For this particular seed today, I'm going to start it off at 20%. What I want to do though is I want to take this handle and I want to move it over towards the 100 and then bring it back towards me and set it at 20%. Okay, now we're set at 20%. There's a few other things that you're going to need for this operation. One is going to be some sort of scale. A little digital postal scale worked great. And the way I do it is I use a blue tarp. What we're going to do with the blue tarp is we're going to set it underneath and we're going to catch our seed. I've placed seed in the box. We're going to catch seed from all feeder cups. I like doing it this way because I think it's a more accurate way of doing it, and it's just as easy as putting seed in 3 of them and then doing the math. So, and it gives you a little bigger sample size to weigh and measure. So what we're going to do, and then what we're going to do is rotate this wheel. We're going to rotate this wheel 89 revolutions. 89 revolutions on an APS 1560 is how many revolutions this wheel will rotate over 1,000 square feet. Once we have the amount of seed that we're putting down on 1,000 square feet, we can then stretch that out to an acre by multiplying it by 43.5. There's 43,560 square feet in an acre. And we're going to go through the steps now, and hopefully you'll get a good understanding of it. Okay, I've got my tarp laid out, and now we're going to rotate this drive wheel 89 times, and that'll put us at 1,000 square feet. You notice I've marked this. I'm going to count these rotations off. Okay, now that we've rotated the roller 89 times, we're going to take this tarp, we're going to empty our seed into our container. Now this may require 2 people, and I'm going to use an assistant here. This is now the seed that we're going to weigh. This is how much seed you would be putting down at a 20% opening in high gear of K31 fescue. We now have 2.38 pounds. We take that times 43.5, and that'll tell us how many pounds per acre we're putting down. We're putting down 103.5 pounds per acre on setting on a 20% opening in high range. That's awful high, I know. Now, as you know, we do offer a seed rate chart in here. Now this seed rate chart is a guide. It is a general guide. So if I was after that setting to put down 83 pounds per acre, now I would back my opening off slightly, probably down to the 15% range, and run this again, and that will tell me exactly how much of this seed I'm putting down. These are guides because God does not make the seeds all one size. K31 from one seed manufacturer is going to be different in texture and weight than another manufacturer. Maybe not a great deal, but enough to throw it off. So that's why it's very critical to calibrate for each seed that you're putting down. And once you get used to it, used to your machine, you'll know a general idea of about where to start. Well, that's a very quick overview on settings and calibration of the APS seeder. I hope now that you'll be a little bit more comfortable in running your seeder and unlocking the possibilities that it can do for you. Thank you.